a lot of the fans really want mutants. They're thirsty.
If it was my decision, I'd want to see mutants straight away.
I expect them to slowly introduce the concept.
I'm not convinced they're going to slow burn this.
I trust Marvel. I trust Kevin Feige.
It's one of those things that's so significant.
We need some time to cleanse our palate.
However they decide they want to roll it out, I'm sure it will be done effectively.
I agree 1,010 plus 300%. A lot of the fans really want mutants, right? And not even X-Men or, X-Force or a particular team of mutants. They're just hungry to see the concept of mutants. They're thirsty, as the kids would say, to get mutants into Phase 4. Grandmaster, I want to get your thoughts on, every 5 seconds, Michaela Cole, the young woman that just got cast in Black Panther. The first thought that the fandom goes to is that's Storm, that's Aurora, and that's a mutant introduction right there, right? The implications of bringing in Aurora Monroe into Phase 4 is that you now have to acknowledge the presence of mutants, people born with superhuman abilities. What do you think? Are you kind of thirsty to have this happen in Phase 4, or do you feel that they could sort of draw this out a little bit more and try to do it a bit more organically?
Well, if you were to play Aurora in Black Panther or Wakanda Forever, it is actually what I expect. Introduce one mutant character, and a few movies or series later, they introduce a second one, etc. Building up those mutants coming in to the MCU. Maybe Aurora is a freak incident at first, and then all of a sudden it turns out there are a lot more of them walking around, and they were never noticed. I don't know how they were going to do it. Marvel has an excellent team of writers, I said that just now, and they will know how to introduce the X-Men and mutants. So I'm not too concerned with that. Do I want it in Phase 4? I don't need it in Phase 4.
But you'll take it if you can get it.
Well, it's something I expect. I expect them to slowly introduce the concept of mutants into the MCU. Take their time, roll it out slowly, and have Avengers 7 be X-Men versus Avengers or something. But I think they will take it. They will take their time. They will do it, go slow and introduce a character here and there.
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever would be a perfect moment to introduce its first mutant character. But if they wait another 2 years, I'm also perfectly fine. I am in no rush. We had, okay, I'm going to talk the Foxverse for a second. I'm not the biggest fan of the Foxverse. There are a few movies that I really enjoy. I think X-Men First Class is one of the best comic book movies in history. But the last two iterations that came out, the last two movies that came out were absolutely abominable. And yeah,
they were pretty bad.
I wouldn't classify it as trash because that would be too much honor. So we need some time to cleanse our palate. I mean, that disgusting taste of Dark Phoenix still lingers on my tongue. And please, let me drink some more water before.
I should have worn my Dark Phoenix T-shirt for you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another discussion. But
so you're not thirsty for it right now. You could kind of wait till they kind of spool it out a little bit.
Yeah, and we know it's coming because they already announced Deadpool 3 and it's supposed to be connected to the MCU. Too bad, but okay. We'll have to wait and see how they will do it. So we know it's coming within a few years. I mean, they're not going to wait until Ryan Reynolds is retired, right? I hope they do, but they probably won't. So, it's coming. So That actress, I don't know her name. I'm sorry. I'm really bad
I
with
think
names.
it is Michaela Cole. I could be mistaken there, but I think we get the flavor in terms of where you're at with this. And I do want to jump to some other panelists to kind of get their feelings on mutants in the MCU, particularly Biz. What do you think? Do you feel that phase 4 is the right moment for this, or could you be okay if this didn't happen for another, 5, 6, 7 movies down the line?
Phase 4, I think that'd be too early to introduce mutants. I mean, there's already a lot of stuff going on. I wouldn't mind phase 5. I'd want if it was my decision, I'd want to see mutants straight away. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, it would be awesome
Or
to
you would
see
have
how
started
Marvel.
with it like day one.
Exactly. Like, why are we waiting? Yeah, but realistically, yeah. There's a ton of stuff. So like phase 5, I reckon would be good to see them, but that even might be too early. So phase 6, yeah. But I would like to mention, like, in terms of like the multiverse in general, like in terms of the Spider-Man coming in, possibly, whether it's via Tobey Maguire or someone completely different. I mean, it's kind of mandatory to have that kind of Spider-Man meme play into it, right? Where they're all pointing at each other. That has to happen, right? With all the
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I mean, like, it would be like blasphemous if that does not happen.
It would, right? We do need the live action version of the Spider-Man pointing meme in
Yeah,
No Way Home,
exactly. We have to have
just for
that. We have to have that.
Grandmaster.
Kevin Feige, please do this.
I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out.
But all right, guys. Mutants, Jeff, do you think that they're sort of in the critical path right now, or do we have a little bit more to wait?
I mean, it doesn't really make any difference to me either way. I mean, I trust Marvel. I trust Kevin Feige. However they decide they want to roll it out, I'm sure it will be done effectively. I don't believe that actress is going to be Storm. I don't. I don't. I think if they were when they cast that
Who do you
character.
think she's going to be, Jeff? Do you think we're seeing a new face in the door, Malaja?
Yeah, something like that probably. Like because I just don't. If they were going to be casting Storm, if they were going to be casting Aurora, I would have believed that they would go with a bigger name actress. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what I think they would do.
I tend to agree.
So I mean, at that point, look, they said that Rogue might be in Captain Marvel too. You know what I mean? That was a rumor that like over a year ago that like Rogue might pop up in Captain Marvel too. So I guess if they, maybe they will, go ahead and introduce some mutants in Phase 4. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I trust Marvel. And what about the fact we haven't even talked about it, guys? Daredevil's coming to the MCU.
Not a mutant, but yes, he's on his way.
Yeah, and Kingpin might be in the Hawkeye series.
We're gonna have to do a Daredevil show just for Jeff. We're gonna have to bring him in, review the Netflix Daredevil shows, because we had a great talk about that on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, which you should check out if you have not already. Jeff will give you a moment at the end of the show to close out and give us all of your plugs and where to be found with that. But last notes on mutants I want to take from Stanton, and really, Stanton, for you, I think you and I tend to think alike on, at least on the issues of mutants. There seems to be like a fork in the road in Phase 4, where you either had to choose this cosmic direction where they're going with the multiverse and leading to Kang, and it favors more of the Fantastic Four Ant-Man side, and I think that if the other fork in the road would have been go down the mutant sort of side, start bringing them in slowly, bringing in some of those big bads. And it seems like the choice has been made. So I don't feel like there's going to be mutants in any significant way in Phase 4. But do you differ on that? Do you feel it's a Phase 5 thing? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think they're gonna wait on this. It seems like, and several of you have already mentioned this, that they got enough on their plate at this point in terms of new things they're introducing. Kang, they've already got stories, with Thor going on. Black Panther is going to do its own thing. I don't know what they're going to do with mutants. I mentioned this earlier that there's a number of different possibilities they could go with. They could go. We thought, when WandaVision was happening, that there may be some reverse House of M thing happen, and honestly, that could still happen in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We don't know. I mean, they could walk in through the multiverse. They could have been just created from one of the snaps or some other similar event. They could have been here all along. So, but yeah, it doesn't really feel like right now they're going to start introducing an entire other major plot, because I'm not convinced they're going to slow burn this, that you're going to see Storm and Black Panther and then or Aurora at least, and then we won't start hearing about other mutants until later, because I feel like it's one of those things that's so significant. The moment you introduce one of them, it just like overtakes so much of the conversation. It's almost distracting to anything else they're doing. So I feel like they're going to wait. Probably. I mean, I could be wrong. I've been wrong about plenty of other stuff, so why not this? But I don't know. I don't really see that happening. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any other topic there that kind of hasn't been covered that I could sort of touch on here, or what do you think?
No, I think we've gone through mutants fairly thoroughly, and I bring them up only because again, every time some unidentified character gets cast in an MCU movie, you get the name of the actor or the actress, and they almost immediately are said to be a mutant and nothing else.
No, I totally agree. And there was one other thing that I was just thinking about that I meant to talk about, was in terms of Deadpool coming in. Deadpool is so wacky. I've said this before to you guys, but just to be clear, like they can. I'm not convinced that Deadpool 3 is just going to necessarily canonize Deadpool 1 and 2 in the MCU. I know that may not seem intuitive, but I'm not convinced that they won't just start the movie with Ryan Reynolds pulling up into a parking lot, getting in his Deadpool costume, and then they just act like that's perfectly normal, and he's Deadpool for the rest of the movie and no questions asked. Like they could do something insanely wacky to just start this film, and he could step out of a comic book. They could just walk him in from like one of his other movies, and he's like, wait, where the hell am I? Like, I don't know. Like they could do all kinds of stuff with with Deadpool that don't necessarily canonize the other two films, and we have to then all of a sudden act like Colossus has already existed in the MCU. I doubt they're going to do that, but I'm curious in what unique way they go about doing it.
Yeah, but they have a lot of latitude with Deadpool just because of his self-aware nature. He can be brought in as a solo character and have awareness of all the different universes without them having to necessarily blend together. But Grandmaster, I want to take the last notes from you on the topic. What's on your mind?
Deadpool is the only character where I could accept it coming in through the multiverse.
Okay, that's progress.
Yeah. But that's the only one I could accept it because of the nature of the character. But for the rest, I would consider it weak sauce.
Indeed. For me personally, I kind of want to see She-Hulk have the role that Deadpool kind of has. She was the original OG fourth wall breaker in the Marvel universe. I think Jeff could back me up on that with the classic floppies. It would be great to see Jennifer Walters, aka the She-Hulk, really, smash those barriers and have that energy that Deadpool has. But I'm jumping to Stanton on that note.
Yeah, just one other thought that I'd been lingering around with the multiverse is like the reason we're saying it's too easy is because you can do anything with it. Like I heard people talking about introducing Miles Morales with it. Why? You've already got his uncle here. Like there's no reason to do that. Like everything, it's the easy answer for everybody's like, well, how are we going to introduce him? Well, just do it through the multiverse. Well, you don't have to do that for everything. So anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's I feel the passion behind that particular statement, and I agree 1,010 plus 300%. It would be too easy and too lazy, and frankly, it would ruin the MCU for a lot of fans, not just for Grandmaster here. But guys, we've had an incredibly spirited discussion on Phase 4. I want to thank the panel for joining me in this discussion today, guys.